Welcome to the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Belomo, where we discuss all things estate planning and elder law. And, well, hey, anything else we want to talk about. Now, today I have a very special guest. First of all, a friend of mine, but secondly, great synergy between what we do in our businesses together. So I would like to welcome Rick Campomizzi today. Rick, how you doing, man?
Good, Jeff. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, man. I've been looking forward to this podcast for a long time. Rick is with Assisted Living Locators, and we'll certainly talk more about that here in a few seconds. I just want to do a quick reminder for my listeners. Please don't take anything that you hear from this show or any other show for that matter to constitute legal advice. If you are looking for legal advice pertaining a particular matter, please contact an attorney licensed in the state that you reside in, who practices in the area of law that you are looking for advice in. And then once you meet with the attorney, then and only then should you take what you are hearing as legal advice. This show and any other show should be used for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. And one thing I can promise you is we're going to have some fun today. Rick and I think we're going to have a ball, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So at Palomo and Associates, we offer free education in the areas of estate planning, special needs planning, life care planning, Medicaid crisis planning, as well as administration, whether it be trust or probate administration after the loss of a loved one. We offer free workshops in all of those areas, and we are able to tell you the costs up front, and then that way you'll know exactly what you're getting into, and you'll know whether it makes sense to continue forward in the process after you have been fully educated. And I believe in that because I don't want what happened to my family to happen to yours in that hospital or nursing home room. Now is the time to learn the education, not then. All right, so Rick, tell us about yourself and your business, my friend.
Well, thank you. I think if you recall, Assisted Living Locators is a national company. It's a franchise. I own the franchise in South Central Pennsylvania. And I started this company, it'll be 4 years in June, so it was right during COVID, in the middle of COVID when more people were moving out of communities and when then they were moving in. And I remember we had a conversation that year back in July, you and I, about, wow, is this a good time to go into it? And it certainly was, because it gave me a chance to really get educated on all the communities out there and learn about them because they had time on their hands. And for myself, this business to me, and what appealed to me when I purchased it, was that it's a free service to seniors. And I'm like a realtor, but in a senior living space. So I'm in and out of communities every week. And so when people come to me, I try to assist them and navigate through the senior living space and helping them choose the right community that best fits their medical and financial needs.
Wow, amazing. So when you say senior living, could you give the listeners a little overview of kind of what that means and maybe use some of the language so that they can kind of get familiar with what they're going to be seeing in the market space?
Absolutely. There's certain levels to senior living, all levels. The first, which is independent living, where people are just really trying to get out from the maintenance and home ownership of a home, or maybe get a little bit more socialization and be around people. So that's independent living, and we have all those communities, all around us. The next level is personal care, where you may need some assistance with activities of daily living, and they're there to help you. You're really still living independently in your own apartment, but you are getting some care. It could be medication management. It could be assistance with bathing or grooming. That's personal care. There's memory care, where if anybody's having some cognitive issues and really needs help in cueing and assisting, but still get the socialization and the stimulation. Wonderful communities out there for that. There's assisted living, which Pennsylvania created an assisted living license about 15 years ago as more of a skilled alternative. The state felt we needed another level of care between personal care and skilled, and they created assisted living license In some states, assisted living and personal care are one and the same. In Pennsylvania, it's just a different level of care. Personal care will offer up to 5 levels of care. Assisted living will offer up to 10 levels of care and be more of a skilled alternative where you're still in your own apartment, but you're getting a little bit more care than what a personal care can give you. I think that's all. And then in
Wow.
skilled nursing, it's the highest level of care that's out there. And that's true, a lot of medical attention as people just need more medical assistance.
Right. And how do you get paid for your services? Is that something that a client will pay for directly, or is that something that you get paid from the facilities once people are placed?
Like I said, when I bought this, what appealed to me was that it was a free service to seniors. And I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
very important as there's a lot to navigate through. I get paid by the communities that my clients would select. And so basically, looking out for their best interest and what best fits their needs, being able to help them any way I can.
That's awesome. And do you actually tour with the people and their families, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the whole process is quite interesting. When you look at South Central Pennsylvania and you look at like a 5 county coverage area that we cover, there's 155, 160 communities out there. So really to
Really?
navigate through all of them that are out there, and we just keep building more because the demand and the need is there. So what I do is when they call me, it's usually one of the children of the family member that needs some assistance, and they don't know where to begin, or they've tried to navigate this on their own and it's so confusing. So what I do is just take that responsibility off their shoulders and say, listen, you worry about and care for your loved one. Let me find you the right place. So typically what I do is I do the medical and a financial assessment on them, look at the geographic area where they would desire to have their loved one be or the individual be. And then I send out an overview of each community along with their pricing so people can see if it fits their structure. From there, if they want to tour those communities and I set up the tours, I go with them on the tours. I'm an advocate for the family. And so I'm really there to try to help them answer any questions or ask any questions that they may not ask. And there's, every community varies in what they offer. And it's just really trying to find the right need, not just from a care perspective, but also what are their interests. There's some places that do a little bit more in terms of activities. Everybody does activities, but some are more focused in other areas. And so it's really trying to match them up with the community that best suits their needs. Um, it's it's such an enjoyable process for me because I can see the relief I'm giving families and the people who are trying to make those decisions. And I'm not just looking for what their care needs are today, but what are their care needs might be 2 years down the road or 5 years down the road. Because the last thing I want to have them to do is have to move to another community because that community they've outgrown that community. And today communities are really trying to keep people to be there as long as they want to be there. And if my goal is it's so hard on the families to make a decision, particularly because most loved ones are not on board with this until they get there and actually see what a community looks like. Then it changes their whole tune. But it's really looking for what their needs are today and what they might be 3 to 5 years down the road.
Wow. And I'm sure that families have no idea what questions to ask when they're walking these facilities, and I'm sure you have probably more questions than you could probably get to when you go through a facility with someone.
Well, and for me, it's usually when I send out recommendations, it's usually 3 because part of my job is to narrow down all the options down there to find the ones that are the best fit.
Right.
And it's honestly the buildings and everything are beautiful, but it's about the people. Those people
Yeah.
are working in their homes and the engagement process. And it's just, people who work in the senior industry are very special people, particularly the ones that work in these communities, because they're trying to make the lives better of every resident there and more enjoyable
Yeah.
every day. And, a shout out to all those workers who work in communities or social workers that work in the senior industry because they provide such a valuable service to our seniors. And we really have to look out for our seniors. It's difficult waters to navigate as you get older in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned earlier about some different counties. What counties specifically are you able to help uh, in the area?
Well, the interesting thing about my business model is I can go wherever there's not a franchise. So in Pennsylvania, I was the first franchise
Oh,
with
okay.
locators. Assisted Living Locators has been around for over 20 years. I was the first franchise in Pennsylvania. I now have counterparts in Philadelphia and out in Pittsburgh. My territory basically is South Central Pennsylvania. It's Cumberland,
Okay.
York, Adams, Dauphin County, Lancaster County, Lebanon County. I can go to State College. The nice thing about the franchise is I may have a family member who lives here, but the kids are all over the place in other states, and they're just looking to find a place. I'm working with a family right now that the daughter and son both live in Europe, and they've lived there for over 20 years, and the mom's back here. And so I'm working with them to do virtual tours so we can go virtually see some of these communities. So when they come in, they already have a good idea of where they might want to help and move their mother to. But in other states, like I had a friend of mine from my hometown, which is up in Center County. I had a friend of mine call me and said, "Hey, my mother-in-law lives in Queens, New York. Can you help us there?" And I said, "Yes, I can," because I have a franchise owner who's up in that marketplace. I can hand them off to there and help, and they can help them find the communities like I do for people here. And it works both ways. I've moved people up from the Carolinas, from Florida back here, and vice versa. I've moved people into Naples, Florida, but I have help and assistance because I have counterparts in those areas.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, how did you ultimately determine that assisted living locators was the the franchise for you? I'm sure there were others you were looking at, or other even areas specifically. Not even doing this for a living, but why'd you ultimately decide on assisted living locators?
Well, actually, I worked for two Fortune 50 companies for 30 years, and I just got downsized in the last company I was with for 18 years. And I was working with a franchise professional, and he did a very good, thorough assessment on me. And he said, "I'm going to send you 8 franchises, narrow it down to 3." And I did that. And this one was at the top because of the business model. Pennsylvania is an aging population, but I saw it more of a service and more of an area of really helping people. It's such a rewarding industry to be in because our seniors certainly need guidance, and particularly if they don't have loved ones who are close to the area, or maybe they don't have loved ones at all and they have nobody to turn to. So it's really just trying to help them in the industry itself, people such as yourself who provides an invaluable service to our seniors. There's a lot we have to navigate through and a lot of resources that we need to have at our fingertips to help those seniors in many different areas to make many different decisions, not just maybe the services that I'm providing, but your services alone are so invaluable because people need to protect assets if that's their wish, or how to navigate through and how to manage the finances through the process, or if they're a Medicaid person who's looking for a Medicaid bed, what's that avenue look like? Because that's not easy to navigate as well. And, so working
Yeah.
hand in hand with people like you, you know, I'm an individual business owner. I have one employee and it's me right now. But I have a network of people who work with me and for me that I can hand off and help them throughout the process and to make it an easier process and a seamless transition for our seniors to get the help that they need.
I don't know how you keep all of these facilities. I mean, when you're dealing with independent, assisted, personal, skilled, I mean, I don't know how you keep it all straight.
It's unique because the people stand out, and
Ah,
the people who I work with are fantastic, so accommodating, willing to do whatever they can do to assist the seniors. Now, when I'm going to some communities, they're trying to sell the features and benefits of their community. But
Sure.
you know, how I make those decisions, honestly, for myself, is there are a lot of communities in the area, and when I'm making those recommendations, what my first thought process is, would I put my own family member there?
Right.
And because my reputation's on the line with every family that I help, and it's got to be it's got to work out well for them. And but also, like I said, it's the people, and it's a transient business where there's a lot of movement with workers within the industry. And so what could be a great community one day gets new leadership, and it may go through some rough periods of time until they build their team to where they want it to be. And so, you got to stay on top of that as well. And we just learn every day. We just learn every
Yeah.
day. But
It's funny.
each county's different.
Yeah, and it's funny you're saying that because I always tell people when they ask me my opinion, I'm like, look, my opinion, first of all, doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, but you should talk to someone like Rick, and your company. I mean, I don't know the first thing about the detail that you're looking at, but what I tell everybody is, here's what I will say. What is the best place today may not be the best place in 30 days. And what is the best place on first shift may not be the best place on third shift, because it comes down to the people
Right.
who are on that shift, who are on that floor, who are in that moment. What's going on in their lives? What are they dealing with? I mean, no, there's one facility that's perfect. No, I don't think there is such a thing as perfect. I think that there are better places, there are nicer places, there are maybe better trained people. Who knows? But you're dealing with people, and we're humans, and we all have the emotions of life. So, as much as we can give you as much opinion as we can about what occurred in the past, that doesn't necessarily mean that this month it's the same.
Well, you know what? And there are businesses out there who do what I do, but they're not necessarily local. And
Ah,
people are dealing with them on a phone call, but they've never been in any of these communities. They just, in what they do is typically they send their information out to every community
right,
because that's how they get paid. And so all of a sudden, that family now is getting inundated with 20 or 30 communities calling them,
right,
as opposed to two or three. I don't give out their information unless I get permission from them.
right.
Usually, when I go on a tour, the community then gets their information to be able to reach out to them, and it's up to them to give it out to them, or if they would prefer just to continue to funnel everything through me. I work so well with the community partners; it doesn't matter to me because we're one and the same
Right.
in, in trying to help these families. But again, it's just like a lot of social workers and everything are asked to be put in a position to help recommend places for families, and they may know some places and other places they may not know of. But when I throw out numbers out there, like there's 155 in a 4 or 5 county coverage area, that blows people's minds because most of them are well hidden. They're
Yeah.
off the beaten path. Um, so it's just trying to find the ones that's unique, and and they're trying to stay generally within a close proximity of where they are. But sometimes if the finances aren't there, you got to cast a wider net,
Right.
or if the medical care is needed, you got to cast a wider net.
Yeah.
And so it's helping them through that process, and knowing that they can call me 7 days a week.
Wow.
I'll say 18 hours a day. I don't think I'll be picking up the phone in the evening, at 2 in the morning. But I have got calls at 6 a.m. and everything else.
Oof.
That people just don't know,
Right.
and I got to be aware of the time zones that my families are in too, because I might be working with a family out in San Francisco whose mother is here.
Right.
And so you got to watch the time zones, particularly that one overseas in Europe. I didn't catch that right away, but that they were 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah. Right. And you're calling them in the middle of the night, probably, right? Or
That's like Hawaii residents watching the NFL games, the 1 o'clock games at 7 o'clock in the morning.
oh, that's crazy. I couldn't even imagine.
But
Oh
so there's a
man.
lot. I would say a lot of the calls that I get are from families or kids that live outside the area.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because if they were here, they would probably think
They're
that they
staying.
could go around. But I even tell the locals, rely on a professional, rely on somebody who does this. I mean, the fact that you're local and you can walk into a place, we don't know what we're looking for.
Yeah, and finances play a big part because there's different different communities offer different levels,
Right.
And, depending on where you are, I mean, obviously you just look at our makeup here. Forget going from Philly to Pittsburgh. You look at our makeup here and you look at the different areas that we have, and there's, they have to price themselves by the median income range of their area,
Yeah, they have to.
you know. And like I said, we just keep building more and more communities, which is great because we need them. Like right now, memory care are in high demand.
Oh,
And, it's not a good situation if you need it and it's not available to you.
right.
As to work with somebody who's having cognitive issues can be so draining and to a family member who's providing that care because they're basically up, 20
Yeah.
hours a day.
Right. Yeah, they're not sleeping.
Up 20 hours a day, doing everything that they need to do.
Wow. Do you ever have people asking you your opinion on, staying home or moving to a
Sure,
place?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line, my goal in my job is to whatever they want to do.
Ah,
It's their life. It's such a big decision, and
yeah.
as long as it's safe, if they want home care to come into to their home, the more power to them. If they
Right.
want to stay there, you can't underestimate the power of socialization outside of a fall
Yeah.
risk. The power of socialization. I am shocked when I see people from the day they move in and go back 30 days later, how much more vibrant they are than when they moved in, because it's almost like going to college again. You just
Yeah.
have people all around you, and there's all kinds of activity that you just get involved.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing I always tell people. Everybody always tells me they're never leaving their home. That's where they're going to pass. Oh, come on. Like, first of all, that's not safe or healthy.
Hmm.
And you don't underestimate the power of socialization. Now, I'm not suggesting that for some people, they want to stay home. And I respect that and I get that. But I think that you have to be open to, all right, what are the other opportunities that may be out there that might be a safer option?
And I think, the biggest challenge that I see families facing today is that their parents just don't want to go, and because
Yeah.
they're thinking of what it used to be like 20 and 30 years ago whenever they had to address it, when
Yeah.
really all we did have was skilled nursing homes at the time
Right.
who were providing a high level medical care. And that's not how it is today.
Right.
The most common remarks I get from a family member, particularly the kids who are probably around my age, are, "When can I move in?"
Yeah. Right.
You're getting 1 to 3 meals a day. You're getting all these activities. You can come and go as you please. You get housekeeping. It's like living in a hotel where you don't have to do anything except enjoy life.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, with our clients, I have never. I tell clients this all the time. I have never had somebody tell me that they wish that they hadn't moved in. What I always hear is, "I wish I would have done it sooner. I wish I would have done it when I could have enjoyed more of the socialization, more of the trips, more of the items that they offered on the, on the campus or on the facility or whatever. And I waited and waited and waited. And man, had I done this 5 years earlier, I would have enjoyed it more."
That's the most common reaction you get from them, because
Yeah.
they don't realize how the power of socialization, because a lot of people are widowed.
Yep.
Most people, you don't see a lot of married couples. You do see married couples, but it's just not a big percentage
Right.
that are doing it. And once they get in there, it's really for them. They can get as much out of it as they want,
Yeah.
or be as private as they want.
Yeah.
They can pick and choose every day. But the other thing is, these communities provide activities, not just on what's going on there, but they'll do dinner theaters. They'll take
Hmm.
trips to casinos. I mean, there's as much. They're probably more active than they would have been if they're staying at home.
Way more trips to shows, and absolutely.
But when you look at it too, it's weighing the cost. At some point, to bring care into the home, that can, as the needs change, you could be paying a lot more to stay home than you could be to be in a place. And
Yeah.
it's always nice to have eyes on you all the time, where because a lot of the kids just worry. Like I talk to families, and the son or daughter, they're calling in the morning, they're calling in the middle of the day, they're calling at night before they go to bed, making sure they took the medications, did they take it properly,
Right.
and just to check in. And it's stressful for them. It's really stressful for them.
Yeah, I had a daughter who I was talking to, and the mom had stayed home for a very long time and then ended up getting placed. And I was just checking in, just see how she was doing, how the mom was doing. And I said to the daughter, anything stand out to you? Was there anything that you kind of were surprised by or anything through the process? And she said, I'd always wanted to keep my mom home because that's what my mom wanted. And so we did everything we could. I mean, we moved everything in order to try to make sure that mom could stay there as long. But now that she's where she is, she loves it. And there's always somebody watching mom.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the peace of mind that I have not being local, knowing that there's always someone watching someone who's watching my mom. And it was an interesting comment that I'd never thought about before.
Peace of mind is very gratifying.
Yeah.
That's a service that I can provide, and that's my own. I get as much, if not more, satisfaction of giving the kids peace of mind, more so than making sure that she's in the right place. Because once mom or dad gets there, they're going to thrive.
Yeah.
And I love it when the kids go to visit and they unannounced and they say, "Well, I'm sorry, but I'm playing pinochle at 2:00. I mean, you have to go and visit another time." I mean,
I got happy hour at 4. Leave me alone.
Yeah, people don't realize that they have happy hour once or twice a week.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, but I get to go and I happen to be there at the right time. Not on purpose. Let me be very clear. Hey, Rick, if people are looking for assisted living locators here locally, how would they find you?
Well, they can call me at 717-802-1074. They can email me at rickc@assistedlivinglocators.com, or go to my website, which is assistedlivinglocators.com/Harrisburg. So
Wonderful.
It happens to be where my base is, but like I said, I cover a pretty large territory, and I can help people not just here, but in any 50 states.
That's amazing.
And because we have 150 franchises in most of the major metropolitan areas, and it's just a great resource to have, knowing that if I can't immediately help them here, that I got people who can take just as good of care for them as I would be providing.
That's amazing. Well, as I fully expected, the time went very fast. I'm not surprised at all by that. Having met you and talked to you before, I thought, yeah, this one's going to go pretty quick, which it absolutely did. So please, to my listeners, if you have a loved one who might be looking at any type of independent, assisted, personal care, skilled facilities, check out my friend Rick Campomizzi with Assisted Living Locators, and he will be able to guide you in the right direction at no cost to you and your family. It's, as he said, it's a free service to seniors, and I absolutely cannot say enough good things about him and his company, and we've certainly had some great success mutually partnering together and working with families. So thank you, Rick. To my listeners, thank you for joining the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show. I had a lot of fun today, as I knew I would, and I'm looking forward to you being able to fully digest this podcast, as I had so much fun on it. So thank you to Rick. If you're looking for free educational workshops in the area of pre-planning, Medicaid crisis planning, special needs planning, life care planning, or administration, both probate and trust administration, Belomo and Associates has an ability to help you. If you're looking for our office, we are at 717-845-5390, or on the web at www.belomoassociates.com. That is B as in boy, ELLOMO, associates spelled out with an S.com. So thank you again to Rick. Thank you to my listeners. I appreciate you joining us on the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Belomo, where we discuss all things estate planning and elder law. And, well, hey, anything else we want to talk about. Thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see you real soon.